All right, everybody. So thanks again and welcome to today's workshop. We are really going to go deep today and talk a little bit about um, chronic pain and how we can really learn ways of releasing that and what is it all about? Where does it come from? And why do we feel that? And then once we've talked about the chronic pain, we're gonna actually be integrating in some meditation. We're going to be integrating some information on how we can calm the central nervous system, how we can downregulate that. And then at the end, again, we'll do like a little guided meditation. And then I'm going to be sharing an email with like resources on what to do next, right? Because we've got to have a little bit of a plan. We've got to know, how can we take action with this information and what can we do? To get started then. So I'm David Price. For those of you that don't know me, Janine and I run an organization called We the Medicine, and We the Medicine has been set up to help people find their true their purpose and to find their power, to ignite that sort of that flame that may have been sleeping, and how we can really become the best version of ourselves. And that means like how we can work with our own tools, such as our breath, our imagination, how we can really use the tools that we've been given to wake up and to become the best version of ourselves. How we can let go of unwanted emotions, yeah, unconscious blocks, limiting beliefs, self-doubts. This is what we do. We're really, really passionate about that. We started this approximately 6 years ago, and I am a coach, a practitioner, a therapist. Some call me a healer. I don't really like to identify with any labels, because that really then is just the ego getting involved in that. And I try to always lead from the heart. Really want to lead from the heart and really share my truth. Okay. And the truth is that I know what it's like to feel emotional pain and physical pain. And as somebody that's worked through that in the last 15 to 20 years, I'm passionate about sharing this knowledge with you, right? Sharing this knowledge with the world. Now, in the last 3 or 4 years, we've had just under 70,000 people join our free online workshops, not just the free workshops, but paid workshops as well. We have hosted a number of retreats here in Costa Rica. We've got a healing retreat coming up in January. And there's a couple of people here on this call that's coming out. And that takes place in Costa Rica. And so we do that. We work with sacred medicines. We work with the medicine of the land. And we're also very shamanic how we work. We kind of really understand the power of working with the healing elements of nature. So what does that mean? Well, that can mean, the waters, the sun, the mountains, the earth, the plants, the flowers, the fruits. And all of this has got like a healing element that our ancestors knew about, right? Working with fire. And this all it has contributed to me being in the best shape I've ever been, mentally, physically, emotionally. Still having a human experience, okay? Still dealing with my day-to-day stuff, things coming up, but now having the tools to be able to really like navigate my way through that, okay? And that's what we do. That's what We the Medicine is all about. It's about sharing this information and really helping people, guiding people to come from a place of trauma to a place of creativity and abundance and prosperity and growth and expansion. This comes from opening the heart. Now, many people that feel physical pain also have a lot of emotional pain, because they're both linked. And it's what we're going to talk about today. How childhood memories, the way that we're parented, and traumatic experiences really not only create emotional blockages within the body. So here we're going to be feeling, this is like the throat chakra area where we feel a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, not being worthy, not being heard, not being seen. And this is a real core wound of the world, is the abandonment wound, right? Not really feeling like that we was loved and seen the way we should have. So a lot of women, they suffer a lot with thyroid issues, right? Some of you will relate to that. Janine had that when I first met Janine. She had Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism for 14 years. And she trusted me. I guided her. We used the imagination. We used the medicine of the earth, and we was able to heal that. We've also got, the blockages around the heart, which is a lot of sadness. We have the solar plexus where we store a lot of anger. And then we've got the lower dantian, which is where we have a lot of fear. Okay. A lot of anxiety and fear, anger, sadness, guilt, and shame. So we have a lot of heaviness. Chronic pain is linked to these emotions. Rather than have the pain where we're kind of like pushing it away, taking tablets, going to doctors, fearing the pain, what we have to start doing is we have to start facing it. We have to start confronting it and talking to it, actually talking to our pain. I was born in London, 1974, had a really traumatic first start to my life, especially in the first, 10 years. There was a lot of abandonment. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot like witnessing violence inside the house, outside the house. And that really affected me in a deep way. I was able to really like concentrate at school. I had good potential, but was unable to really like focus and learn what I needed to do. And then the next 10 years, there was another load of trauma that happened outside of the house, a lot of violence. I come from a very, very violent area in London. There was a lot of guns, a lot of knives. I was even shot by a gun myself. I had friends that were murdered. There was a lot of abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. I was even homeless at some point. I had no education. I left school at 14. So there was a lot going on for me. And when I got to 20, I was actually arrested for something I didn't do. And I was being framed, to be honest. And anyway, I didn't know how that was going to pan out. And that was kind of the thing that really triggered my first breakdown, let's just say that. And then so at that time, I was working on a construction site, and I was digging a hole, and all of a sudden, what I thought had happened was a disc popped in my back, which I'm sure there's people on this call that would be able to resonate with that, right? When that popped, I was in absolute agony. I couldn't walk, I couldn't move, but I had to get an ambulance. And then they done all the scans, done the MRIs, and I was diagnosed with a herniated disc. So herniated lower disc, touching the sciatic nerve, sciatic pain all the way down the back. Now, if anyone's ever experienced sciatica or sciatic pain or back pain, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm referring to the level of pain. It was excruciating. So let's fast forward over the next 30 years, 25 to 30 years, right? This pain would come and go 2 or 3 times a year where I wouldn't be able to walk. I'd be in agony. I could bend down, pick up a brush, and it would just go, right? So I always had that fear in my mind. Is it going to go? Is it not going to go? And I was told there was nothing I could do. I had multiple MRIs and scans. And I was just told that it's something that you've got to deal with. It's something that you've got to learn how to manage. And so I did. I was doing yoga, Pilates, trying to keep my back straight. But, the reality was I had no control over that. It was kind of just going when it wanted to go. And then what happened was as well is when I got into my 30s, I started to get like this real discomfort in my muscles and my tissues. as I'm sure a lot of you would know. So that would be like in my lower back, in my buttocks, in my glutes, in my thighs, in my groin, and it would be kind of like I'd wake up in the morning, it'd be aching, I'd have to stretch, and I could never really get that to go. And that went on again, you know, for the next 15, 20 years. And so it was always my mission to, with the work that I do and the healing work for myself and others, was how do I find the solution for this? Like, what is it that I've got to do? So I work with the imagination, I work with the breath, I work with all of these different tools. And then it was literally recently, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that I was just online and I was doing my, surfing as you do and checking out all different resources. And then I found this guy, Dr. John Sarno. Okay, so I want you to make a note of that name, Dr. John Sarno, Sarno. I watched a couple of videos of his and he was starting to talk about TMS. Anyway, what that was a diagnosis to show how he discovered, as the head of medical at New York University, who used to like take care of people with bad backs. He looked at all of his patients' files and he saw that one thing that everybody had in common was they had emotional problems, they had emotional issues, there was traumas, there was stuff going on in their life, there was fear, there was rage, there was perfectionism. This was in fact what was causing the pain. So here's the thing, here's where it gets really, really interesting and a little bit wild. When he explained to his patients what was actually happening, they all just started healing. So there was people that he was working with that had 10, 20 years of chronic pains, chronic conditions, debilitating pain, not being able to walk, not being able to play sports. And the moment he explained what was going on between the mind and the body, people just started healing. So how can that be possible? How can you have diagnosis from chiropractors, from the hospitals, from doctors, the scans, herniated discs, bulging discs, curved spines? How is it possible that you can have all of this pain and then it can just automatically be released? With the thing with me, when I find something that's like super helpful and informative, I go down the rabbit hole and I really want to dig and find out more and learn about it, right? Because it's in my interest. I want to help myself. I want to feel good. And then I know once I know that, then I can share it, which is what I'm doing now. What he says is, if you're skeptical, it's okay, but just read one of my books, Healing Back Pain, right? So you can write that down, Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarno, and see how you get on with that. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I looked at the book. And if you want to do that after this call, go onto Amazon and look at the book called Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarno. It's absolutely incredible. The amount of comments, 7,500 people that have reviewed that book, and some of the things that they're saying, like it's like reading about yourself. I had sciatica, I couldn't walk. I read the book and it disappeared like that. Right? How is that possible? How can you read one book, not have to do any healing, not have to do any psychotherapy, not have to do any counseling, not have to even release the emotions, and it can become healed? Well, that is a really, really good question. And it's a question that I can't answer. But what I can say is that it doesn't matter, right? What matters is that there's information that once your brain understands why you're feeling the pain, the intelligence of the body is so sophisticated that things start to work their way out, that you start to create more ease. Things become pain-free, right? It just kind of fixes itself. So let me tell you now why that's happening, and then a little bit about, well, first of all, I'll tell you what happened to me. So I read the book, watched a couple of his interviews, read a load of the testimonials, because what they're doing is they're reinforcing your your belief system. And belief is fundamentally crucial in the healing of chronic pain. It's all about belief. What do you believe? Because if you don't believe that this mind body thing is what it is, I can guarantee you that you're not gonna heal the pain. So if I don't believe it today, that's okay. I've had 10, 20 years of doctors and medical and all this stuff. I can't just quite get there straight away. So I need to educate, I need to learn, I need to get information, right? But the moment you believe it and the moment that you actually understand what's going on, you will find something miraculous. The pain will disappear. And not just disappear, it is a very, very strong chance that it won't come back. And if it does, you can manage it. So with me, because of the way that I am and because of the way my mind is and because of the way that, you know, I trust and I have belief and, you know, and because it's something that I was calling in and I was desiring it, for me, it was pretty much instant. The moment I finished reading the book and I closed the book, something inside of me clicked. It was like somebody had opened the top of my head and all of this tension and this pain and this discomfort within my body just completely released. It was like ease for the first time for as long as I could remember. And I came out the room and Janine was just about to serve dinner. Anyway, we sat down, started eating, and I said, you know, can I share my experience of what I've just learned? And she said, yes. So I started to share what I'd learned, this information of that all we need to heal chronic pain is to educate ourselves on where the pain's coming from and why we feel it in the body, and we can heal it ourselves. Now, because Janine trusts me and she loves me and she knows the way that I am and she believes my words, something even more remarkable happened with her. Janine had 14 years of pain in her hips, and she believed her story of, because she was a professional dancer and she used to hold the dancers in the group because she was the strongest, that all of the years of holding these girls caused her hip pain. And that was her story. And because that was her story and she believed it, the pain was there. The moment I explained to her what had happened to me through Dr. John Sarno and reading his books and the mind body healing, the moment I explained to her what had happened, she woke up the next morning and she didn't have any pain for the first time in 14 years. And it's not come back once. So let's just put a bit of context on that. I had chronic pain, discomfort, aching for 30 years. Janine had it for 14 years. And in one night of understanding what was going on, it left both of our bodies instantly. How is that possible? The human body is so intelligent. We don't need to understand the how, the where, the why, the what. It's not important. What matters is it works. And it doesn't just work for me and Janine, it works for thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And the reality is that this is really seriously disrupting the chronic pain industry, because I believe it's around $600 billion a year. And so if you can find the solution to heal yourself, you don't need to use the medical system. You don't need to take tablets. You don't need to, you know, so it really, really is disruptive. And we're living in a world now where there is actually a lot of science to back this up. This isn't just a woo-woo thing. This isn't just some crazy doctor that's made it up. There's now a load of science that's being taught, that's being shared by, people like Howard Schubiner and Alan Gordon. There's the Boulder study in Colorado where they showed how having herniated discs and having crooked spines and all these different things has no effect on the pain in your body. I mean, how wild is that? They did a test. They showed that there was people that had perfectly straight spines that had pain, And there was people that had crooked spines and herniated discs that had no pain. There's no correlation. So what they're showing and proving is that, you know, it's all nonsense that we've been told, right? Another study shows that in the brain, when you have an emotional, let's say, experience, a traumatic experience where you feel, you know, anger, shame, rage, or whatever it is, due to something that could have happened to you, some sort of abuse, or even just feeling an emotion, the same area of the brain lights up as if you are having a physical pain, which is really, really incredible. And that's actually crucial because this is where the kind of secret lies to why we feel this. Just to make one thing very, very clear, all pain that we feel is real. And all pain that we feel is coming from the brain. Let that sink in. So again, take a moment, write this down. The information around mind-body healing is the medicine that you need to heal. It's so simple, yet no one tells you. Why? What? You know, Dr. John Sarno, I'll tell you something quickly, right? His dream, when you learn about him, he's a beautiful, beautiful man, right? He's got the cure for chronic pain. All of his 9 out of 10 of his patients were healing within 4 to 6 weeks. 9 out of 10. He kept going to the people involved, and the medical industry was like, nah, don't want to know, don't want to know, no, 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 no. And they wouldn't entertain it, right? And the reality is he died in his 80s or his 90s, and he was just very sad because he knew he had the cure for chronic pain, but he kept getting like shut down. And then his work has now revolutionized this method, and there's a ton of science around this. There's a load of neuroscience now, and there's all people jumping on board, and they're commercializing it. If you do this program and this course, and you know, invest your money and this, that, and the other, but the reality is not everybody needs to do that. All right, and I want to make that clear. You don't need to work with anyone. You need to work with yourself and trust yourself and go deep, go down the rabbit hole and bloody educate yourself, right? Because that's what we need to do. We stop the swiping and all the nonsense and the social media and get on it and gift yourself this healing, right? That's what we've got to do. So anyway, he got shut down, but he was the pioneer of this. So he diagnosed it as TMS, which covers like the stomach stuff, anxiety, fear, all of these things, physical pains, chronic pains. And this is what's going to resonate with you all now that's listening to this. The main reason, this is the bombshell, right? The main reason that you all feel this, or anyone that's on this call feels this pain, discomfort, this aching, is one thing. Your central nervous system is stuck in fight or flight. You might go 90% of your life managing and coping, breathing shallow, getting by, surviving in the mind, constantly fearing, constantly looking back with shame and guilt, worrying about the future. That is a central nervous system that runs from your brain down your spine into your sacrum. That is, it's on fight or flight. It's waiting for doom. It's waiting for disaster. And the reason it's stuck is because there's a part of your brain that keeps that on repeat, on loop. It's like a and it's running, and we can't switch it off. That's why you feel anxiety most of the time. That's why the pain's there, right? But the good news is we can switch it off, right? Everybody, take a moment, put your pens down, just tune into how you feel. And I know I'm feeling it in my heart. There's a lot of information, people being activated. Yep, that sounds like me. It makes sense. Yep, I had trauma as a child. I've had pain, my central nervous system, I'm always got anxiety, right? Okay, so tune into that. That's your reality, right? Now, watch this. Everybody copy me. When I put my hand up, you breathe in through your nose. And when I put my hand down, you breathe out through your nose. Go. Breathe in and out. In and out. In and out. Just pay attention and follow your breath. And it may feel weird for some of you. You're breathing into your lower dantian. So what you want to do is you put your hand on there. And as you breathe in, you'll feel it, the hand go out. And as you exhale, it goes back down. All right? Beautiful. So just keep breathing in and out. Now, stay with that breath. Take your hands. These are your healing hands, okay? Take your healing hands. Give them a rub. Get the electricity flowing. And then just start rubbing your fingers down your front of your face like this. So you want to do 4 or 5 down the face, 4 or 5 down the outside of the arms, and 4 or 5 on the hands. But remember to keep breathing slowly in through the nose and out through the nose. Very good. Very good. Keep breathing in, slowly in through the nose, slowly out through the nose. And just close your eyes as you're doing this and allow yourself just to be present, to come present. So just what I want you to do is bring your imagination to your heart. And I want you to see your favorite color inside of your heart. As you're doing this, as you're rubbing your face, breathing slowly, imagine this color inside of your heart. So you're breathing slowly in through the nose. And I want you to make the color now more vivid and more bright. So you're using your imagination. Really good. So slowly in through the nose, out through the nose. Now just take both your hands, put them on your heart. And just tune into that color inside of the heart. All right. What I'm going to share now is probably the most important thing to understand here. The reason that we feel chronic pain in the body, the reason that we feel discomfort and dis-ease is because the brain is protecting you from unwanted, suppressed, unconscious emotions. Imagine you're laying in bed and all of a sudden you hear the fire alarm and it's so loud, it's like piercing your ears and it wakes you up. What's the first thing that happens? You hear the alarm and it's like, wow. The alarm, what's the job of the fire alarm in the house? It's to protect us from a fire. So it's letting us know there's protection. It's the same as what's going on between the mind and the body. Okay? The fire alarm is the pain. And it's protecting you from the fire, which is the emotions. Please write that down. It's really, really, really important to understand what's going on. The alarm is the pain, and it's protecting you from the emotions, which is the fire. That's what's happening. The moment you understand that, the moment you get it, and the moment that you really understand that All you've got to do is talk to the brain and let it know that, okay, I'm not that person. I've changed. I'm not in that same part of my life. Even though I can still remember the experience and I feel the emotions when I tune into it. I am not that person. I'm going to become present and understand that I'm the healer. I can switch that off. I'm in control. I'm the one navigating my way through life. I get to choose what I focus on. I get to choose what I believe. I can use these tools and I can become safe. And if my nervous system knows I'm safe, I don't need to feel that anymore. Thank you very much for protecting me. Good night. I'm out of here. Why is it that we are not really honoring this sacred gift from God, from the universe? Why are we choosing to breathe this way? Here. Just from the neck. If this body, this sophisticated machine, this grand healing divine instrument needs carbon dioxide as optimum fuel to fuel this system, to get the cells moving, to get the right information and light going to different organs, why are we not breathing in the right way? Because no one showed us. It's not what we've been shown, is it? No one told us at school that if you don't breathe in the right way, which is into the lower diaphragm, you're going to get sick. This is what it's like in the West. In the East, it's not. When you go to school, they teach you how to breathe. They teach you how to meditate. They teach you how to downregulate the nervous system. If you're not breathing in the way that we did earlier, in a long, slow breath throughout the day, throughout your life, you are going to get in fight or flight. You're going to feel anxiety. You're going to get disease. You're going to get fatigue. You're going to get pain. So we're living in an age where we're starting to remember it's such an important time. Moving into the age of consciousness. People are waking up. People want to know more. I want to know more. Like, how can I feel good? How can I heal myself? This is where we're living. This is why we are the light warriors. We're here to share, to give, for you, to build our community, to grow, to understand our healing power. Why do I not breathe? Why do I not use this sacred tool of the breath to become present, to heal, to feel good, to switch off fight or flight, which is key to teach the nervous system that I'm safe? What we do is, like Davina said, is we give our students tasks to set a reminder on their phone every hour, put post-it notes up, because it's a challenge, but you're gifting yourself those spaces and pausing throughout the day to do that. And you're teaching yourself that I'm worthy to feel love. I'm teaching myself that I'm worthy to feel, to feel healing and to feel grace and to feel safe. And Janine has been on this journey now for probably 3 or 4 years. And she's got her post-it notes up all around the house and her phone goes off every hour. And even just in the relationship, it's good for me because I'm a human and I'm not enlightened and I don't want to be. And it's not my mission. But some of my teachers are on a mission for that. Some of my Buddhist teachers, and they're programmed from a young age. And even if you practice this stuff for years and 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 years, you will still have moments throughout the day when the ego wants you to suffer, and it will take you away from your heart, and you'll start thinking, and there'll be fear and guilt. I can see what's going on. I'm the observer. I'll come back to the heart through the breath. Let's take a moment then. Let's just notice how when we started the call, we felt a little bit anxious, a little bit of stuff going on, working with whatever's going on in the world. We did that beautiful little 5 minutes down regulating, and now we've kind of gone back into activating the mind again, right? We're thinking, we're processing, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of information coming through, okay? You're not here to remember all of it, but I'm giving you an introduction into this so that you can really go down the rabbit hole and learn. And I'm going to be sharing an email with some links and resources. We have a community of people that, you know, that want to heal from this. They want to learn. And I'm going to send you a link to that where you can join. And this is an ongoing thing, right? So today is all about really giving you the hope that you are capable of healing this pain, this discomfort. And then when you go on from after this, you're going to look back at your notes and understand it's all about education. It's all about information. And it's all about like relearning and unlearning some of maybe your constructs and your beliefs around what pain is, and really understanding that there's a power to heal that within yourself. All right. So let's just put down our phones and our laptops. No more typing for a minute, and we can just kind of close off with a nice meditation. So again, just going back to your breath, noticing now how you forgot to do the breath again. This is a perfect example of how the mind's now coming back and we're breathing more shallow. We've got to be aware of our breath. We've got to lengthen the spine. Okay, this is another good thing I want to share. Turn to the side, you will spend 99.9% of your life like that. Okay, you're talking, your shoulders are like that. It's heavy. I'm heavy, right? This is a heavy pose, a heavy posture. And what does that mean consequently for the nervous system and the brain? Well, you're firing chemicals to show that you're not safe. This is not a safe posture. This is a posture of fight or flight, of suffering, being in survival mode, just getting on, doing what you need to do, breathing shallow. The moment you do this, you put your shoulders back and you put your spine erect. You are showing your nervous system that I'm safe. I feel good. I feel confident. I feel love. I'm a winner. I can be pain-free. I can have ease, right? That's what you're doing. So part of this training is changing our posture. Changing our posture, right? So putting your shoulders back is so important. It might feel a bit weird and a bit strange to do that. And you'll notice after a couple of minutes, you'll kind of go back into that again. But learning to change your posture is not just good for the structure of the body, but it's also what is the message, the information that you're sharing with the brain and with the conscious field around you, right? So that's great. So just changing your posture, putting your shoulders back. I want you to start breathing again, slowly in through the nose, out through the nose, and then rubbing the arms and the face and closing the eyes. Okay. And what I want you to do here is just engage with your imagination. So as you're breathing in, imagine that you're pulling the oxygen up the spine to the third eye, to the pineal gland, and then you're releasing it back down the spine again. So what we're actually doing here is you're working with your sacred fluid. And the fluid goes up and down the spine. So it's called the cerebral spinal fluid. And what that does is that actually activates the whole body into this antenna, which is what we are. We're always sending and receiving signals, which we won't go into today because it's a deep one. But just to give you the basics is that you've got this cerebral spinal fluid that comes from the sacrum, which is otherwise known as the sacred stone. And that sacred stone sends this cerebral spinal fluid, this Christ oil, up to the third eye. And that activates the pineal gland and it activates the whole system as this antenna. And you can squeeze the perineum and like squeeze this oxygen up, squeeze this cerebral spinal fluid up and down the spine. So it's 5 or 6 seconds in, squeezing it up as you're rubbing your arms. And just using your imagination to see this fluid going up and down the spine. And this fluid is bathing the brain. It's on the outside of the brain. It's on the inside of the brain. And it's coming from the ventricles inside of the brain. And it's just this powerful liquid, fluid that has the ability to calm the central nervous system, to switch you on as this antenna so that you're connecting with a field of energy, of light, of healing that's always there. So keeping the eyes closed now, paying attention to this fluid, bringing it up and down the spine. Very good. What I want you to do is I want you to suspend the mind, suspend all of your fears, all of your worries, and just be in this really present moment together as we create this conscious collective field together. Okay. And just notice as you're rubbing your arms and your face and your hands, what's happening as you breathe like this. Notice what sensations you feel inside of the body. What are you feeling? What's shifted? What's the vibration? Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. And I want you just to be present. And if the mind comes in and it wants you to start thinking of something, just bring your attention back to this fluid going up and down the spine and see it. What does that look like? This white fluid, like a bright light. And it's coming up the spine to the third eye and going down. And you continue to rub your face and your arms, listening to the sound of my voice. And as you breathe in, notice the fluid become more vivid and more white. And as you breathe out, just go twice as deep, twice as relaxed with each breath. And allowing your imagination to come into key, this creative imagination. And I want you to really go into the future and see the future version of yourself at the beach, at the ocean, walking along the ocean, walking along the beach next to the ocean. And with each breath you breathe in, I want you to make the colors in the image more vivid. Tune into the sound of the ocean, the warmth of the sun. Feel the sand, the warmth of the sand underneath your feet and on your back. And I want you to visualize and see yourself and feel yourself absolutely pain-free. Complete ease and grace as you're breathing deep this ocean air into your lungs and your cells. As you listen to the sound of the ocean, notice the colors becoming more bright, more vivid in your imagination, and just really be there now. That's right. Very good. With each breath you breathe in, make this image more brighter, more vivid, make the ocean waves a little bit louder, and just notice the colors of blue, turquoise, beautiful palm trees, feeling the warmth of the sun. And then placing a right hand on your heart and just really just tuning in, feeling that essence, feeling that power, feeling that ease, and allowing yourself just to be there on that beach, in the mind, in the imagination. And now asking your unconscious, what if I can allow this to happen? What if I could just simply choose to let go of the pain, the discomfort? What if I actually was a healer and everything I ever need is already there inside of me? What if I could just talk to my brain and switch off the pain, letting the nervous system know it's completely safe? As we're sitting on the beach, looking out, noticing the sunset, the oranges and the yellows, and just really feeling at ease and at peace. And then in a moment, I'll count from 1 to 5. And when I get to 5, you're just going to open your eyes, feel more calm, more relaxed, more empowered. And you're going to know that you have the ability to have a life of ease from any pain, any discomfort. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.